We understand that consumers have a lot of options. There are so many streaming options out there right now. And I think for Warner Brothers Discovery, there's a couple of things that are really important. One is just our content is super compelling, super engaging. It's the kind of thing that people get immersed in, and they can engage in for quite some time. It's buzzy. People talk about it because those stories are so compelling. The storytelling really is key. And then from an advertising perspective, just from a user experience perspective, because yes, the content will bring users to our service, the customer experience is also really, really important. We need to make our content easy to find. We need to make our applications easy to use. These are things that are really important to us. From an advertising perspective, we want the ad load to be complementary. And so we work really hard on driving experiences that are complementary to our content. For example, Mercedes doing a custom sponsorship with Succession, that title and that brand, they work really well together. There's a lot of synergy there. So we think about these things, like we have the content that will bring the users. We also want to make our app experience a place where users will want to stay once they've finished that compelling content. So it's not just about Succession, it's about watching Succession and then watching everything else on the service as well. The rest of our super compelling, highly engaging content, and making sure that the experience that we have, both in terms of being able to find content on our service and then have an advertising experience that is not super disruptive, that is also engaging and relevant to the customer. These are priorities for us, and things that we think about as we put content on the service, as we develop sales packages against our content, and then as we execute against those sales packages.
So how about closing the loop and understanding the value and the performance and beyond the panels? There's so many new metrics. That's an area that I know you guys have been leading in, but tell us about understanding the value of streaming and the streaming audience and the advertising that surfaces up there.
That's a good question. We talked about this a little bit at the upfront yesterday, where we don't believe that there is only one way to measure audiences. And we have announced in market recently about the partnership that we are doing with Video Amp to help measure our content as well. Measurement is important, it's valuable. And as we get into this converged world where we have linear audiences and we also have digital audiences, being able to understand viewership, but also understand viewership and engagement, these are important things. Being able to do that across screens, these are also important things, so that we can drive, partly again, it's about user experience. Nobody wants to see the same ad over and over again. It's also good for our advertising customers to understand their reach and their scale, to be able to get that data to help inform the ROI on their spend. These are things that we're very, very committed to for ourselves, for our end users, for our clients. All three pieces are part of the big puzzle, right? We need to understand how we're doing, how we can improve, where the opportunities are for us. We need to provide a great experience for our customers, our end users, because they're the ones who are showing up and consuming our content. And then we need to find that experience for our clients as well, so that they can see the value of their spend on our footprint.
And finally, with ad-supported video, it's growing. You guys are making a big investment in Max. It's exciting. What can consumers expect in terms of ad experience and pods and relevant advertising? What needs to be done, and what do you hope to deliver?
We are definitely focused on a light ad experience that is minimally disruptive. I think we're averaging 3 to 4 minutes per pod, with the intention of just, we're going to put the ads in there. They're not going to be hugely disruptive. You'll see them. They'll be relevant to the content, and ideally they'll be relevant to the user. That's a big one for us, because users, I really don't think users have a problem with advertising. I think they have a problem with advertising that goes on too long, or the advertising that isn't relevant to them. So within the bounds of within the bounds of what we can do without being intrusive into people's lives, we are going to try and find a way to drive advertising that is relevant to the consumer, whether it is via something that ties to the show, or whether it's an ad that we think would be valuable to the customer as we understand the customer. these are things that are, again, are really important to us. We think that they drive a better experience. We also think about, like, how do we, maybe we just front load the advertising at the beginning. You watch 2 minutes of advertising and then you have an ad-free experience, which can be something that users also find valuable. Can we put ads in a non-disruptive way? So if you pause content, you'll get an ad. You chose to do the pause. It's something that'll appear while you're there or while you're in that pause state. And then as soon as you're back to the content, the ad goes away. So we are constantly thinking about, how do we provide a better experience for our customers? How do we drive that relevance? How do we make this as seamless as possible? And part of that is also, when you hit play, we want you to get to content as quickly as possible. So how do we make that ad transaction as fast as possible? It's something that we talk about a lot. So these are the areas that we're definitely focused on. Both, again, we think it drives better ROI for our advertising clients to have a clean experience, one that is relevant to the content, one that is relevant to the consumer. And then we think it's good for our consumers so that they can get to the content that they are here to see with minimal disruption.